Hey guys, it is April from Getting Hugo With It. Today I am here to tell you what I did read next. This whole video is based on a tag that I created called the What Should I Read Next book tag. And I was so excited that so many people really liked the idea of that tag and people took part. And the whole point of that tag is to get reading recommendations, essentially. So I told you guys 3 books I loved, 1 book I hated, and what I was reading lately. And I had so many book recommendations. It was unbelievable. And most of them were like completely on point. I have to say, you guys rock. So now my TBR list is kind of exploding, and I'm not complaining at all. But yeah, I wanted to show you the books that really stood out to me. So I want to share those with you and let you know what I decided to read next. So let's get into it. So the first book I want to talk to you about is The Snow Child. This book was recommended to me by quite a few people, actually. It was recommended to me by Katie Reads, Word Crown, and A Girl in a Book. So I am very interested in reading this. This is definitely in line with The Light Between Oceans, I think. So this takes place in Alaska in the 1920s, and it's about a couple. The husband is working as a farmer, and it's really intense, grueling work, and his wife is incredibly lonely. So one day they decide to just build a little child out of snow, and the next morning when they go back to see their snow child, it's gone, but they happen to see a little blonde girl running through the woods, and then they see her more and more, and she's accompanied by a little red fox, I think, and they kind of think of this little girl as their own little snow child, and then they learn something about this little girl. It sounds kind of magical and also incredibly sad. I was very excited to learn about this one. Next, I was recommended Beautiful Ruins, and I think it was Katie from Life Between Words that recommended Beautiful Ruins to me. So this is the story of 2 people who meet on the Italian coast in 1962. And then 50 years later, these people meet again in Hollywood, and the spark is reignited. This sounded really lovely. Katie recommended it to me because of the atmosphere. I think that would be such a great summer read personally, so I'm really looking forward to that one. Next, Girl About Library recommended Lily and the Octopus. This is about a gay man named Ted and his little dachshund named Lily. He has an incredibly huge soft spot for Lily, and one day he sees this little formation on her head that looks like an octopus, and he refers to it as an octopus, but we all know that it's cancer. She recommended it to me because of the characters that you can't help but root for, which is exactly how I felt about The Book Thief and all of the characters in there. So I'm really eager to find out who Lily is and find out all about Ted too. Next, I was recommended The Silence. Now, Jen the Librarian recommended The Silence to me, and this sounds a lot like Bird Box, but kind of flipped on its head. So in Bird Box, you can't go outside because when you go outside, you'll see something and kill other people and kill yourself. So people kind of go through the world blindfolded. But in The Silence, it's the opposite. So there are creatures in the world that hunt by sound, so you can't make any sound or you might be killed. It sounds terrifying. I am so excited to read that one. It sounds awesome. This Sampler Girl Knits recommended The Memory Keeper's Daughter to me. This book sounds like you would just cry essentially the entire way through, just like I did with The Light Between Oceans. So it follows the story of a doctor who delivers his own twins. He keeps one of the twins, and then he decides to give the other one away to an institution. And he asks his nurse to bring this daughter to an institution because she has Down syndrome. and the nurse decides to keep the little girl and raise her herself. And I'm assuming at some point that their paths, link up at some point. But this sounds absolutely beautiful. I've definitely walked by it multiple times at the bookstore and just never picked it up, but I'm really glad that I have this little extra push. Derby Lane Reading recommended The Other Typist to me, and this is the story of a girl who is a typist for the New York City police. She sits in a courtroom and types up their confessions of killing people and stealing and all of these things, and usually she'll just go home after that and live her normal life. But then one day, another woman comes on board the New York City police as a typist and changes everything. That sounds like kind of a mixture between a thriller and a historical fiction novel, so I'm very intrigued by that one. But what did I decide to read next? There are many that didn't even make it to this list that I have already put on my TBR, but I had to choose one, and the one that called out to me the most was Lily and the Octopus. I've already started reading this. I think I'm, 35 pages in, and I immediately already love Ted so much. I want to give him the biggest hug in the world. And Lily is just this sweet little dachshund. I love this book already. I already am making plans to have my own copy. So thank you so much, Girl About Library. I'm very excited to dive right in. So if you haven't already done the What Should I Read Next book tag, I really think that you should, because you will be hooked up with so many good reads. It's brilliant for your TBR if you're hemming and hawing about the next thing you feel like picking up. Why not have tons of amazing readers offer you their suggestions? I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you are well, and I will see you next time. Bye!